Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Obsy. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. So we're going to be talking about classic fragrances in this video. Somebody gave me this idea actually. Shout out to you if you're watching this video. If I want to talk about classic fragrances, I mean, I have to take it back to when my fragrance journey actually began, which was when I was in secondary school, right? So I come from a family of people that actually love fragrances. My dad is a frag head, even though he would never like to admit it. Of course, my mom as well loved fragrances, so that was where I developed, I don't know if I would say the passion. I just used to go to their wardrobe and like try on their perfumes. Even if I wasn't going anywhere, I'll just spray it on myself. I never knew anything about notes, I never knew anything about what they smelled like. I just knew that, oh, it smells so good, and I liked it, right? And for me, when I used to go to secondary school, I'll buy the body mist, something that looks like the Victoria's Secret. We used to call it the body fantasy or something. They can't be buying expensive fragrances for me as a child, so that was literally like our perfume in those days. Obviously it doesn't need to last long, it's a body mist, so it doesn't last long, but it did the job. And there were also some fragrances that we actually bought from the supermarket. I would insert some pictures if I do find them. I remember one was white musk. I don't know if they were even original or they were fake, but I just know that we used to buy some fragrances from the supermarket, a little bit pricey but not so expensive. There was one called Celebrity, I don't even remember the brand. I mean, that's how like my love for fragrances actually began. I never even only had one fragrance, I always had like a couple, maybe 2 or 3. And if I want to talk about fragrances that actually remind me of my childhood, or fragrances that actually bring back like those memories, the nostalgic feeling, it would be those fragrances. It wouldn't even be these ones that are in the market, the designer fragrances, no. But there are some fragrances that my parents used back then. If I smell them now, I think it will take me back for sure. Anyway, that's the point of this video, just to bring back to talk about some fragrances that you might want to always have in your collection. I mean, I do not have all the fragrances I'm going to list in this video, but I know that these fragrances actually mean a lot to me. When I'm finally settled in life, like when I finally build my own house, my own home, have my own family, I would definitely have those fragrances. They will not be for use, but they will probably just be for, you know, just to remind myself of the old times, of the good times, when life was better, when life was easier, when the economy wasn't this hard. I think I've rambled too much, but that's the whole point of this video. I'm just going to be listing out 6 fragrances, and I also want you guys to let me know some of the classic fragrances in your collection. Leave it in the comment section. Let me know what kind of fragrances actually bring back those nostalgic feelings, those, you know, memories that you know actually would make you smile or make you feel like a child once again. That's the whole point of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in this kind of video, then make sure you keep on watching. Okay, I'm going to start with the ones that I have here. So I want to talk about 3 fragrances that I have in my collection, because I feel like I'll probably always have, I'm not really sure, but at least 2 of them I'll probably always have these fragrances in my collection, just because I feel like it means a lot to me. The first one is Chanel No. 5. Now Chanel No. 5, I know a lot of people don't really like this one. It's very unique. I feel like this is one fragrance that actually matured my nose, if that makes sense. I feel like this fragrance was the fragrance that made me feel like I'm very mature, I have grown. I mean, I used to love a lot of sweet fragrances, floral, fresh, all this kind of vibe, but when I smelled Chanel No. 5, it gave me that bossy feeling. It made me feel like what I've been looking for all my life. It did a lot for me. I mean, anytime I smell this fragrance, I always remember times I used to go out, places I've been to, and I know that this was a fragrance I wore. Particularly, I think I remember going partying once. This just takes me way back. I'm talking about maybe 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, before COVID for sure. And this is just a very aldehydic fragrance. Chanel No. 5, the original one, as you can see. This is definitely not my first bottle. I think this is probably my second bottle. I'm not even sure at this point. This is a very aldehydic fragrance. It's also a little bit powdery. They have different flankers. So they have like the Chanel No. 5 Low, I believe. And I think a lot of people prefer that one because it's a bit modern and it's more wearable. It's a little bit fresher as well. It's perfect for this summer period because it's a freshie, but then it still has the No. 5 DNA. It's not as heavy as Chanel No. 5. So this is a little bit powdery. This has a lot of florals in here. It has iris, it has jasmine, I believe, which obviously is what makes it a little bit powdery. It's not animalic at all. I think it's just a little bit earthy. Yeah, that's the word. It's very earthy, a little bit dry as well, but I really love it. You can definitely get some form of freshness in here. I believe there might be some citruses, maybe bergamot. Ylang ylang I believe is here as well. It is so, oh my god, the dry down is just what gets me. I think I get a lot of amber in this one because it's a little bit sweet as well. This is so good. So you can get the amber in here. I believe there is also vanilla, the jasmine, the rose, you can definitely tell. So this is a very nice fresh citrusy aldehydic fragrance, a little bit floral as well. I love this fragrance. This is a fragrance that will always be in my collection. I feel like this fragrance can never go old. It can never get old. I feel like this is a timeless fragrance. I'm sorry, even though a lot of people do not like it or a lot of people might not be able to wear it, but this is a timeless fragrance. I feel like it's a fragrance that our ancestors were wearing. People in like the 1940s, 1950s, this is one fragrance they were probably wearing in their time, and this fragrance is still here to stay. I believe they're also going to be reformulating this fragrance a lot, but I just hope that they still maintain the authenticity of the fragrance, they maintain the originality, because I feel like that's what makes it really, really unique and very classic. So if you haven't actually tried out this fragrance, please go and try it out. It is not a safe blind buy. I'm not recommending this fragrance for you guys to go and, you know, buy it immediately. It is just a very unique fragrance that I believe will always be in my collection, even though I'm already rolling out. The next fragrance, I think I'm even done. It's even done at this point. This is Alien by Mugler. Obviously, Mugler has been sold to, I believe, L'Oreal now, so there's no Theory Mugler again. But this is a classic fragrance for me. When I got this bottle and I smelled it, I was even very shocked because I felt, I feel like I've used this fragrance before. I can't remember the first time I used this fragrance, but it definitely took me back to my uni days. It just has this very unique quality about it. It's a very distinct smell. Very easy fragrance, but still very distinct, very long lasting. In fact, the whole Mugler brand, I think one thing that really stood out to me about the whole brand is how long lasting they were. Obviously, I wasn't really introduced to the niche fragrances. I was just more on the designer. So to find a designer fragrance that was very long lasting, it made me so impressed. I fell in love, and the whole house just always does it for me. Aura by Mugler. There's also Angel Muse, the original Angel, which is another classic fragrance if I'm being honest. Angel by Mugler. But I just think that that fragrance was a fragrance that kind of ushered a lot of us into designer fragrances. Anyways, Alien is a white floral fragrance. It's just a jasmine and amber fragrance. I don't know if I would repurchase this fragrance, but it definitely has a special place in my heart. They have come out with so many flankers now. Alien Goddess, different flankers. In fact, I'm tired to be honest, but the original is still the original. For me, I get the idea of flankers, right? It's just to diversify the scent, but then the thing is, when the DNA is still there, when the original DNA is still there, I don't see why. I think the flankers would be good for people that haven't used the original or don't want to use the original, so they have other options to try. Maybe you want it a little bit more sweet, or you want it to be a little bit fresher, or you want some extra maybe Alien Oud. I think I have the Alien Oud Majestic in my collection, and that has been discontinued, and I literally am left to like close to the bottom, and so I'm not using it. That fragrance has a special place in my heart as well. So it just depends on what you're looking for, but Alien is definitely a classic scent. I believe like every frag head or anybody that loves fragrances have or has definitely come across Alien, probably use it once or twice in their entire lifetime. This is definitely a classic fragrance. Takes me way back to uni days. I love this fragrance so much, and I don't know if I'm going to be repurchasing it, but this definitely is something special. Decadence by Marc Jacobs. This also is almost done, left with like 1 ml or 2 ml maybe. Again, this is a fragrance that not a lot of people love. This is my second bottle. I mean, my entire lifetime, this is my second bottle. The first time I got this fragrance was also when I was in uni. This was love at first sniff. Like, this was a fragrance that I loved genuinely. I could not stop using this fragrance. I know the bottle is not giving, but I was kind of also attracted to the bottle because it does look like a handbag. Anytime I wear this fragrance, it just takes me back. I really love this fragrance, and I believe I'm going to repurchase this fragrance for sure. It's a very nice woody, fruity, floral. In fact, more on the floral side than the fruity side. It's very woody, a little bit creamy, musky. I believe there's rose in here, there's jasmine. For some reason, I'm gravitating towards fragrances that have plum in them, but I didn't even know that there was plum in this before. I just really loved it. So there's plum in here, there's jasmine, there's rose, there's amber. But one thing I actually used to think was that there was vanilla. So this gave me like a green vanilla kind of vibe, not in a bad way. A vanilla with just some hint of greenness, something a little bit musky as well, maybe a little bit powdery because it has iris. There's also saffron in this one, but I absolutely love this fragrance. I see mothers using this fragrance, children using this fragrance. In fact, this ushered me into my mature era. I think I probably got this fragrance around the same time I got the Chanel No. 5. So I basically was being ushered into like my mature era. So I wasn't using like juvenile fragrance. When I say juvenile fragrances, I mean fragrances that smell more fruity, more on the sweet side, more on the candy side. I really hate those type of fragrances, and this gave me the right amount of balance. This made me feel like I'm mature. I still have like some hints of the sweetness in there. At the same time, I have like a mature floral in here, jasmine, rose, you know, everything in this one was just like impeccable for me, and I really love it. This fragrance definitely has my heart for sure. In fact, the brand Marc Jacobs, I feel like is a classic brand, because if I do remember correctly, my mom was a lover of Marc Jacobs. Any fragrance from Marc Jacobs, sign her up, like she would get it. For me right now, I feel like Marc Jacobs, they've lost their touch. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most of their fragrances are kind of redundant, the same thing, nothing so, you know, spectacular, no wow factor to their fragrances. The last Marc Jacobs fragrance that I bought was Perfect Intense. I think that was the only fragrance that kind of like, oh wow, this is kind of different. But Marc Jacobs Decadence is definitely one I love. I probably would repurchase this fragrance for sure. And it also has flankers, so they have like the EDT and they have like another one, I believe. But for me, the original is still the best and will always be the best. Okay, let me go straight into like the main classic, Burberry Weekend. You guys, I never used that fragrance, but my mom used that fragrance, and I mean, because she used it, I used it. Burberry Weekend is a fragrance that I've not really explored like in my current age, because obviously right now if I smell the fragrance, like I would probably have more understanding of the fragrance, but it definitely takes me way back to when I was in secondary school, because that was my mom's fragrance. At that time, I wouldn't even say I was so much of a fan, to be honest, because I just felt like there was also nothing so wowing about the fragrance, but it was very mature. So it's a fruity floral fragrance. It has some nectarine in there, some citruses, some oranges, some nectarine. It also has jasmine, I believe there's rose in there. It's a little bit powdery. That's one thing I got from that fragrance, a little bit powdery, and I feel like a lot of mature fragrances have that powdery note in there. So there's iris in there that contributes to the powderiness. One thing I would say, I will not guarantee the longevity of that fragrance for sure. I can't vouch for it, because I mean the notes in there depends on how it's done or how it's mixed. Obviously if it's macerated, it might last a little bit longer, but I think you can get a good 6 to 8 hours wear out of that fragrance. But for me, I don't know if I would buy it, but I think it's a fragrance I would just have just because it's very dear to my heart. I can't even still picture where the fragrance used to be in her wardrobe. My mom used to be one that would never she would never throw away empty bottles, so sometimes the bottles will still be there even when the fragrance is done. That's where I got that habit from. Burberry Weekend is definitely a classic. I mean, I know a lot of people would not gravitate towards that fragrance at this point in time, but if you want to like go back to the days where like fragrances were not really as popular as they are right now, or they were not as popping as they are right now, then you should definitely check out Burberry Weekend. The next one on my list is Light Blue from D&G, which is also a fragrance that actually reminds me of my mom, but I completely hate that fragrance. I cannot stand that fragrance. Obviously they have done a lot of reformulations, they've come out with a lot of flankers as well. I just cannot stand Light Blue. It's a classic fragrance, like it's a classic freshy. It is just one fragrance that I cannot stand. I know I bought that fragrance again, but again I was trying not to keep fragrances that I wasn't using, so I probably must have returned it or given it to her to use. Now the next one on my list is Marc Jacobs Lola. I don't have the bottles here, so I'm just going to be inserting the pictures on the screen. Marc Jacobs Lola, this takes me back to my uni days. I'm talking about first year. The bottle alone was so dramatic, and that's just Marc Jacobs' signature. They always come out with like dramatic bottles, and Lola was no exception. Lola was very gorgeous at the time. Now I don't know if I would buy it because the bottle is just a little bit too much. Lola, if I do remember correctly, it smells a little bit fruity and floral, of course, very floral, and it has peony, it has pear, it has rose in there, so it's a very nice nice warm floral in my opinion. A lot of people might not like it, but I loved it. I probably used it twice. I loved that fragrance so much, and I feel like that fragrance is a classic. No one is talking about Marc Jacobs Lola. I don't even see it in the stores, or is it just me that wasn't checking for it? I feel like anytime I go to the stores, I don't even really see Lola. Is it been discontinued? I'm not really sure. Please let me know in the comment section. Do you think Lola has been discontinued? It was a very nice warm floral, a little bit fruity, but more on the floral side. Very mature, like very mature. I need to check for that fragrance. The last fragrance I'm going to mention in this video was the first fragrance I bought with my own money. Like, okay, well, my money or the money my father gave me. So basically it was the first fragrance I bought by myself when I came to uni. Obviously when I was in secondary school, my parents were the ones that used to buy like the body mist or whatever perfume I would want. But in uni, I bought my own. Like, I went to the store and I smelled fragrances and I bought my own. It was a moment for me. So the fragrance I bought is called Marry Me by Lanvin. I haven't seen anybody talk about that fragrance ever. I went into a store and I was just sampling different fragrances, and that particular fragrance I just couldn't get it out of my mind, and it wasn't so expensive. It's a very affordable perfume, so I think it's still in stores. Actually, you should check it out. Marry Me by Lanvin. It was so beautiful. It's a citrusy floral. It has jasmine, it has rose, it has mandarin, or is it oranges? It is so gorgeous. Musk and vanilla. A lot of the fragrances I've mentioned so far, if you notice the trend, there are a lot of jasmine and rose, jasmine and rose. I don't know if it's that it was just me that likes those florals, or is that majority of the fragrances back then really capitalized on jasmine and rose. I don't know if it's just me. Yeah, this is a citrusy floral. Obviously not really my vibe anymore, but it is still a very gorgeous fragrance. I'd actually go buy it again because it actually takes me back to that moment, and I feel like it's a fragrance I'll probably always have. But the thing is that, is it unique enough? I don't really know, but it is a very stunning scent. I don't think I've smelled anything like that. Well, maybe now I must have, but back then I had not smelled anything like that. It was very unique, mature, very well balanced and well done. And the longevity, funny enough, I got at least 12 hours of wear out of that fragrance. That's not the only Lanvin fragrance that I've used. I've also used Princess by the same brand, and those two were very long lasting. They also have a very good projection. Funny enough, like, they're not expensive perfumes, they're very affordable, but like it projects. I wore Princess by Lanvin to the club once, and literally people were asking me what I was wearing, and I was so surprised because I had not even used a lot of the fragrance. I probably had just a sample, and the projection was mad. Don't sleep on the affordable brands. Don't sleep on the brands that are not making the rounds. Make sure you try to explore fragrances, try to go and do your own research. I mean, yeah, people recommend fragrances, but also you might find something that you love that nobody else has talked about, so it might be your duty to come and inform us. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, let me know what classic fragrances you have in your collection, or what fragrances you have used that kind of gives you that nostalgic feeling. I would like to know. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel, follow me on Instagram. My name is Obsy_P. You can also follow me on X, because I actually post more on X than on Instagram. And on X, my name is Dr_Obsy. I'm going to leave everything on the screen and also in the description box. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.
Gamble, but from your sample, I'm a pride in the mud, it's a dismantle. I'm a full cancel. The way you do it so clean, I be down for the flex. You cold, it's the ice on your neck. You just gotta drop me one line, one text, and I'm a